I never believed in ghosts, not until I stepped foot into that house. IT was an old Victorian mansion at the edge of town, a decaying relic of the past. Its windows were boarded up, and the once grown farm was now marred by years of neglect. The locals whispered tales of its haunted history, of strange noises in the dead of night and flickering lights in the abandoned rooms. To me, it was just a dilapidated house, a perfect opportunity for my friends and me to prove that there was no such thing as the supernatural. One chilly autumn evening, fueled by youthful curiosity and bravado, my friends and I decided to explore the haunted mansion, armed with flashlights and nervous laughter. We entered the house, expecting nothing more than a few creaky floorboards and dusty rooms. But the moment we stepped inside, an eerie chill settled over us. The air felt thick with unseen eyes watching our every move. Ignoring the creeping sense of unease, we pressed on, exploring room after room. It wasn't long before we realized that the stories were true. In the darkness, shadows danced, taking on shapes that seemed almost human. Whispering voices echoed through the walls, too faint to decipher yet too close to ignore. Objects moved on their own, and doors slammed shut with a force that defied explanation. Fear tightened its grip on our hearts as we realized we were not alone. Panic set in, and we tried to flee, but the house seemed to have a will of its own, trapping us within its walls. The once silent whispers grew louder, filling our minds with incomprehensible thoughts. One by one, my friends succumbed to the supernatural forces that surrounded us. They were consumed by madness, their eyes empty of all reason. I was the last one standing, the final witness to the horror that had befallen us. As I wandered through the house, I saw glimpses of the past of family torn apart by tragedy, their anguished spirits forever bound to the mansion. They were not malevolent, merely lost souls seeking release, but their desperation had twisted them into something darker, something that latched on. In a desperate bid for survival, I ventured into the depths of the house, following a trail of flickering lights and ghostly whispers. There, in the heart of the mansion, I discovered the source of the haunting and long-forgotten secret buried within the walls. With trembling hands, I unraveled the truth and released the trapped spirits from their torment. The house groaned and shuddered, as if in relief, and the malevolent presence that had gripped us finally dissipated. I emerged from the haunted mansion, shaken and changed. The experience had shattered my skepticism and left me with a newfound respect for the unknown. I never spoke of what happened that night, but the memory of the haunted house gone wrong haunted my dreams, a reminder that there are forces in this world beyond our understanding, waiting in the shadows to be discovered. The wind howled outside the old, decrepit house, rattling the windows in their frames. I had inherited the house from a distant relative I never knew existed, and on the surface, it seemed like a stroke of luck. A large, imposing structure nestled deep within the woods, shrouded in mist even during the day. I moved in, thinking it was a quaint, if eerie, place to start anew. Little did I know, my life was about to descend into a nightmare from which I might never escape. The first signs that something was amiss came subtly, a flicker of movement in the corner of my eye, an inexplicable chill that settled in my bones. At night, the house came alive with noises, footsteps echoing in empty halls, whispers that seemed to flow from the walls. I dismissed them as the sounds of an old house setting, trying to convince myself that there was another explanation. But as the days turned into weeks, the disturbances escalated. Objects moved on their own, doors slammed shut with a force that defied explanation, and an unsettling feeling of being watched plagued me. Shadows, twisted and contorted, danced along the walls. The house seemed to have a life of its own, a malevolent presence that reveled in my fear. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford. Every night, I was tormented by vivid, terrifying dream specters with hollow eyes and mangled limbs, reaching out to me from the darkness. When I woke, I found bruises on my skin, as though I had been grabbed and held in a vice-like grip. Desperation set in. I sought the help of experts, paranormal investigators, priests, anyone who might offer solace or a rational explanation. They came and went, their faces pale with fear, muttering about an overwhelming sense of dread that pervaded the house. In my solitude, I delved into the history of the house, hoping to unearth the root of its malevolence. The more I discovered, the darker the tale became. The house had a history of tragedy, of family that had met a gruesome end within its walls, their restless spirits believed to haunt the room. One stormy night, as lightning streaked across the sky and thunder shook the foundations of the house, I decided to confront whatever entity resided within. Armed with a flickering candle, I ventured into the depths of the house, my heart pounding in my chest. In a room hidden away, I found a decrepit, ancient diary. Its pages spoke of a curse, a vengeful spirit seeking retribution for a past injustice. I realized then that I was not alone in the house. I was sharing my home with a wrathful ghost, consumed by anger and despair. As I read the final pages of the diary, the room grew icy cold. The ghost materialized before me, its form twisted and contorted, a reflection of the pain it endured. It reached out, its fingers like ice, and I felt an overwhelming surge of emotion, sadness, anger, and an unbearable sense of loss. With a voice that sounded like a chorus of the damned, the ghost spoke. "Help me," it pleaded, its hollow eyes boring into mine. "Help me find peace." I nodded, my fear replaced by a deep well of sympathy. I promised to help the spirit move on, to free it from the shackles that bound it to the house. In the days that followed, I researched methods to break the curse, performed rituals, and offered prayers. Slowly, the disturbances ceased. The house grew calm, the malevolent presence dissipating like fog under the morning sun. The ghost, once a harbinger of terror, became a mere whisper of its former self.